Part 83. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 824. Book title, Rebirth of the Giant Mosquito in the Starry Sky. Chapter 32, War Compensation Fleet. Second update. Author, by U. Welcome to the latest chapter of Rebirth of the Giant Mosquito in the Starry Sky 2K novel website. The domain name of this website, the complete opinion of 2K novel, it's easy to remember. Highly recommended novels for reading: The Gate of Creation, The Perfect World, Infinite True Immortals and Demons, Heavenly Records, Confucianism and Taoism, The Supreme Sage, The Wisdom Emperor of the Song Dynasty, The Blood Song of the Three Realms, The Ultimate Cultivation, The Powerful Young Master, Only My God, The Mang Huangji, I Want to Seal the Heaven, I Will God's Will, Korean Entertainment's Journey to Heaven, Awakening Wuzun Deo, Invincible Yao Zun in the Sky. The technology of the Earth's people is getting more and more powerful. What even ordinary people on the Earth don't know is that with the help of outside technology, the entire solar system has been transformed into space. Temporary stations were established, mineral resources were mined one after another, and many scientific and technological personnel and Earth workers were exerting light and heat in the universe for Earth civilization. And in this extremely heated scene, a huge fleet was moving slowly. There are more than 300 of them, and each of them is a large transport ship. With its ferocious muzzles aimed in all directions, it seems that it can kill the small elementary interstellar civilization of the Earth to ashes. They have not turned on the stealth and anti-detection systems at all, and they seem to be extremely confident in their abilities. However, the real situation is naturally the same. If this fleet wants to do something to the Earth, they do not need to hide, because the Earth does not have the help of strong people. If so, this fleet can easily solve it. Ah, universe, you are so beautiful, just like Xylee from my hometown, with dark eyes, beautiful and cute. I'll go, you're so talented and you still write poems. What the hell, Xylee and Xiaohong, is there a girl named Xylee in your hometown? On an Earth battleship, two soldiers at the radar station were joking. Although the strength of the Earth civilization is not yet strong, the people of the Earth are now extremely confident in the strength of their own civilization. The reason is none other than the strong Earthling named Mok. Now the entire Earth is obsessed with this person. He doesn't appear much, but he looks exactly like the people on Earth, and he also shows that he is a strong man and highly respected by the people on Earth. With the existence of Mok, the people on Earth have nothing to fear, because through those strong aliens, the people on Earth understand the extent of the strength of Mok, a strong man who is suspected to be an Earthling, in the entire universe. That is an extremely powerful person who can look down upon the entire star territory. With this strong man taking care of us, what else do the people on Earth have to fear? Okay, no more joking, work. Huh? What is that? Not good. The expressions of the two soldiers at the radar station changed, and then they quickly pressed the alarm button that sounded throughout the battleship. Less than 10 minutes later, the Earth's border warships in the entire area were mobilized. They gathered one by one. Although there were about 100 ships in number, they were all shabby warships of about 100 meters. Facing the huge fleet seemed to have no ability to resist at all. What's going on? Isn't this the identification signal of the Rulan Empire? And how come they don't seem to be malicious? No matter what, let's send a request for help to the Earth first, and then let the fleet members write suicide notes. If the other party wants to attack, we have no ability to resist at all. There were expressions of horror and pessimism throughout the Earth fleet. The fleet they detected turned out to be an extremely huge fleet, with a total of 300 in number. Moreover, this was not an ordinary spaceship, nor was it 100 small battleships on the Earth side, but a real large battleship. And spaceships, some of them are more terrifying than the semi-combat aircraft carriers that attacked the Earth last time. In a battle with the Earth fleet, Just one such warship might be able to destroy all the Earth fleet warships. Under such circumstances, how could the Earth fleet not be pessimistic? Don't worry, even if we die, Master Moke will not let us die in vain. If this fleet dares to attack us, Master Moke will kill us next, and they will all be wiped out. Each member of the Earth fleet thought with gritted teeth. That's right, the people on Earth now believe that even if they die in battle, their efforts will be rewarded. As long as they can delay MOK's arrival, no opponent will be able to defeat the people on Earth. Just when the entire border defense fleet was preparing for a decisive battle, the Rulan Empire fleet over there suddenly sent a communication request. Excuse me, are you the respected Earth civilization fleet? We are the first fleet of Rulan Empire to provide war compensation supplies to your civilization. We have no ill intentions and I hope you will not misunderstand us. Upon hearing this communication message, the entire members of the Earth's border fleet seemed dumbfounded and could hardly believe their ears. Well, I seem to have heard that the other party said that they were the compensation fleet of the Rulan Empire? Could it be that this is what Master Moke said 2 years ago, the result of claiming compensation from the Rulan Empire? This entire fleet is their compensation. How is it possible? Isn't it said that the Rulan Empire is still more than 10 light years away from us? If you want to go to their capital, it is even further away. How did Lord Mok do it in 2 years? What's more, the Rulan Empire, how could he agree to his demand for compensation? Could it be that I could make the entire Rulan Empire surrender by myself? The Rulan Empire seems to be the top civilization in the entire star field among those alien adults. There are many starry sky level experts. No matter how powerful Lord Moke is, he cannot achieve this level by himself. Yet, every soldier and senior officer of the Earth fleet was in disbelief, but they were not allowed to disbelieve when they saw the Rulan Empire fleet approaching from afar, each ship abandoning its own weapons. When every weapon that could directly destroy the entire Earth fleet was separated from the Rulan Empire fleet ship, and every weapon that exceeded the research and development capabilities of the Earth people was dropped, the entire Earth fleet felt dead. What they said is actually true. Lord Moke really did something like this that even us people on Earth don't believe. Long live Lord Moke. When what happened at the edge of the solar system was notified to the Earth, it was already half a day later. The Rulan Empire fleet is coming to attack. Quick, 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 inform everyone. I will unite with the forces of the Earth fleet that have just arrived. We will definitely have a chance to resist them. As long as the assassin returns, we will definitely. Sir, you heard me wrong. I was not talking about an attack, but the Rulan Empire's compensation supply fleet, a total of 300 giant ships. The other party said that this is only the first batch. There will be several more batches to come. A big frog-like alien creature stopped Carrie, who was about to jump into a rage. This big frog was recently assigned to Carrie from the Earth's forces. His strength was also at the early stage of the heaven level. Now I see him. This former partner, who was only slightly stronger than him, became the supreme fleet leader on this Earth, but he was still so restless and slightly disdainful. Of course, he forgot that when he heard the news, he was no different from the leader. Are you sure you are talking about the compensation fleet? Not the fleet attacking our Earth. Carrie finally stopped thinking about arranging defenses, and instead stared at this big frog subordinate, his eyes almost bulging out of his head. Of course, sir, I guarantee it will be true. Ha ha ha, I knew this must have been done by Lord Assassin. So what about the Rulan Empire? As long as Lord Assassin takes action, no matter how powerful the interstellar power is, he will still have to come over and compensate. Kari's face changed extremely quickly, as if he was extremely excited at this time. Quickly, prepare the warships for me personally. I want to go over quickly and see if there are any warships in that fleet that our Earth fleet needs. In the future, the Earth will become more and more powerful. My status can no longer be that of the marshal. Now I can take the lead. Rob. Looking at the money-crazed leader, the big frog was speechless. He understood that the Earth Marshal was simply a money-crazy leader. However, Kari's thinking for the sake of the Earth has been engraved in his bones. This is probably the reason why he can become the Marshal of the Earth Fleet. And when a series of events were announced here, the Geo family had also received the news. There was no confidentiality between the military and the Geo family. As long as the Geo family wanted to know any information, they would definitely send it over. Even if the Geo family doesn't want to know such big news, the military will definitely send it to them. Even if the Geo family doesn't help make decisions on some matters, the military and the Earth's top officials will feel uncomfortable and dare not take action. Brother. The news just came that the Rulan Empire actually sent a compensation team of 300 warships to come to Shiyuan. Could this be what you did after you disappeared for 2 years? Jia Lin held the communicator in her hand and rushed to the house where Jia Yan was. Jia Yan happened to be training the brainwave power of his 2 nieces. As for Jia Rong, he seemed to still have some feelings for his father. Jia Yan didn't want to see him very much, so he didn't call over. Hearing her mother's voice, Jia Kai, who was flying in the sky, almost fell to the ground. Don't be lazy, hold on, Jia Yan shouted in a low voice, and Jia Qi curled her lips in the air and continued to fly. Oh, has this fleet finally arrived? It's not too late, otherwise I would have trouble with them. Jia Yan looked at his sister lightly, and then said without any surprise. Brother. Did you really do it? Jia Lin's eyes lit up. She knew that this was an unparalleled feat. Although she knew that her brother had done countless things to save people on Earth, this time this piece can definitely be regarded as a landmark contribution. Haha, go and send a communication to the Rulan Empire, telling them that I have returned to Earth, and they have 10 days to complete the handover. You will understand after seeing their reaction. Jia Qi, who accepted Jia Yan's words, went to the headquarters of the Earth Fleet in the former Shanghai city. And although the senior officials of Earth civilization who knew the identity of this Geo family's legitimate daughter knew that Jia Lin rarely went out and rarely took the initiative to do such far-reaching things, they still hesitated. Because after Jia Lin understood the meaning of Jia Yan's words, the communication words she spoke were extremely harsh. The higher UPS on Earth don't dare to send it out? Miss Jia, if you put it this way, what should we do if they come? People on Earth probably won't be able to stop them. A head of state from a certain country on Earth begged Jia Lin, who was in a hurry. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 825. Hearing what Naun said, Jia Lin glanced at him strangely. Then she said as if she just remembered. Oh, these words are all from my brother. No, Moke said them. He is at my house now. What? Master Moke is back. Damn it, give it to me quickly, this news is still too soft. Scold me, if you don't hand over within 8 days, our Earth civilization will be angry. That Guo Yuan changed his face very quickly, and he was worthy of being a politician. When he heard that Lord Moke was on the Earth now, he felt confident, his face improved, and he couldn't even breathe after shouting 3 times. Jia Lin's flowers trembled when she heard it, and she almost burst into tears from laughter. It's fun to tease these high-level officials occasionally. This is what this child's mother is thinking now. This is something that only the Geo family can do. You must know that this is the most powerful person in the world, and only the Geo family dares to speak to him like this. Not long after, this message, full of the anger of the Earth civilization and solemn diplomatic rhetoric, flew directly to the Naralan Empire fleet at the edge of the solar system. Of course, the fleet did not dare to say anything. After all, the entire Rulan Empire bowed before the so-called ambassador of the Earth. How dare they show their temper now? Spaceships loaded with supplies, teaching personnel, and even various technical types of work flew towards the area designated by the people on Earth. There are so many of them that they cannot be placed on the Earth. Considering safety factors, the people on Earth have placed some on the Moon and some on Mars. The scientific and technological personnel of the Rulan Empire, even the third in one step, we will start to help people on Earth improve the environment on various terrestrial planets and satellites. With their help, people on Earth will soon have several livable planets. Only when the name of Earth civilization is introduced can it truly become an interstellar civilization. The mood of the people on Earth at this time can be said to be extremely exciting, especially when they see high-tech workers from the Rulan Empire, as well as all kinds of talents whose strength is far beyond that of people on Earth. They are almost silent in front of people on Earth. Attitude, self-identity for people on Earth, and prospects for the future are all extremely confident. The people of the Rulan Empire seem to have known about the situation of the Earth before they came to the Earth. Now even if they see the people on the Earth seem to be better than expected, it is not too strange, but they follow the instructions of the Earth's various projects, arrange and enter various jobs. The express train for the people of the Earth is about to arrive. And all the excitement and national pride on Earth can be seen in Jia Yan's eyes. Under the starry sky, a figure floats quietly over the increasingly dense city. The Earth is slowly becoming like those cosmic civilizations. Is what I do good or bad? Jia Yan looked at the Earth that was about to lose its original scenery, and didn't know whether what he did was right or wrong. Although he doesn't know whether the talisman he made is in line with his own heart, Jia Yan knows that all this is in line with the hearts of almost everyone on Earth. Being ravaged by metal monsters, and seeing the advancement of alien civilizations, people on Earth have long expected to become advanced in their hearts, and do not want to become the backward and barren land described by other civilizations. Then that's enough. Even if Jia Yan doesn't want to see the Earth turn into another shape, as long as the people on Earth don't give up the idea of moving forward, the mother planet will eventually become like that. All Jia Yan did was speed up the process infinitely. It's just a degree. Well, the Earth is on the right track. The real body is almost reaching its destination, so I have to solve the last problem, and then I will focus entirely on the real body. Jia Yan took another look, and saw that the night had almost turned into day, and the cityscape was covered with buildings 2,000 to 3,000 meters high, and then fell downwards. Jia's building complex. The Jia family's status on the Earth is getting higher and higher, and his location has gradually become a semi-open secret. In order to protect the Jia family from being disturbed, the high mountains where the Jia family is located were returned to the city. When the metal monsters were raging, that the entire small hilltop was renovated, and the entire boundary of about 1 kilometer around the hill was even acquired to create the Jia family's building complex. In this building complex, there are several heaven-level masters. Thanks to the gradual development of the strength of the people on Earth, after Jia Qi became the first to become a heaven-level master, several more heaven-level masters appeared in the Earth. About half of them came to the Jia family, partly to protect the Jia family, and partly to learn the power of brain waves from some alien masters in the Jia family. In this Jia family, there is another person who is much more powerful than other powerful people. That is the Jia family's nominal wife, Satsuma. As a peak-level existence at the heaven level, Satsuma is already the strongest person on Earth. Of course, among the strong people from the Rulan Empire, there are also starry sky level ones, and her strength is slightly insufficient. Mom, what kind of person is Dad? On this day, little Jiarong was in Satsuma's room and saw his mother resting silently. He asked with some confusion. Satsuma opened her eyes helplessly. She knew that her son would always ask this question when he found her. It seemed that he had been troubled by this father since he first met Jia Yan. Your father is a man who values love and justice. You should have been able to see that after you have been on Earth for so long, Satsuma-chan replied. But Dad doesn't like Mom, and he doesn't like me. Is this called emphasizing love and righteousness? Jiarong shook his head, expressing disbelief. This is all my fault, wrong, Mom hopes you don't blame him, Satsamakan said. I don't blame him, but I will defeat him one day and make him recognize you, Mother, Xiao said very calmly. Before Satsuma could reply, she heard a man's voice from outside the house, lightly interrupting her words. Very good, I agree with your idea of defeating me, but you are far from capable now. I hope I can see that day. Hearing this man's voice, Jiarong's expression suddenly changed, and even Satsuma Kono, who had always had a calm expression, was a little surprised. She always knew that Jia Yan could probe into her and her son's life, and even their conversations, Jia Yan could easily hear what he wanted to hear. But this was the first time Jia Yan came to her. Can I go in? Jia Yan asked outside the house. Can. Satsuma-chan took a rare opportunity to support his head, and then, with a straight face, he used his brainwave power to gently open the door. As expected, there was Jia Yan outside the door. He still looked like a young man, but compared to him before, this time Jia Yan came to Satsuma Temple's residence, it was a breakthrough. Of course, Jia Yan's purpose of coming here is not just to resolve his unclear relationship with the Satsuma shrine. Hello, Satsuma-dan. When Jia Yan walked into this house, the surrounding furnishings were not much different from other houses on the planet. They also inherited the low-key decoration style of the Jia family. Hello, Jia Yan. Satsuma Kono also nodded. Her face felt a little red. When Jia Yan saw her current appearance, he felt that she had a slightly more earthly look than the last time he saw her. Maybe she had been in this body for a long time and had become somewhat accustomed to it. Children, it's better not to listen to what we say. Jia Yan looked at Jiarong on the side and sighed when he saw that he was still a little hostile to him. He didn't know how to face the son he picked up. Okay, Xiaorong, go to bed. Satsuma-kan said to his son. Jiarong didn't want to leave, but his mind was different from other children and he understood the current situation, so he had no choice but to nod and leave upstairs. Jia Yan has set up a brainwave power shielding area. It is impossible for outsiders, let alone Jiarong, to easily break through this brainwave power shielding area, even if it is a venerable person. Your strength is indeed much stronger than when I first saw you. Satsumako has also seen many strong men. Now that he saw the power Jia Yan used, he was a little surprised. Slightly open. My real body is stronger than this. Jia Yan did not deny it, but nodded. Satsuma Kong seems to be very happy that Jia Yan can mention his true identity to her, because she knows that no one on earth knows that this Jia Yan is still a clone. A secret that only she knew, which made this female creature feel happy. Yes, but I still regard your avatar as a real person. Jia Yan. Do you have anything to do with me today? Satsuma-kan smiled, and then sat down on the sand. She made the tea and felt that her movements were very authentic. After all, she was a strong person. If she wanted to learn the Chinese tea ceremony culture, she had some inherent advantages. Jia Yan watched her movements while organizing his own words. He didn't want to mainly solve the emotional problem between himself and the Satsuma niche, because he never thought that he had any feelings for this woman. But now seeing the other party's attitude, Jia Yan had some words stuck in his throat and wanted to ask. What do you think of me? I believe that you have been on our earth for a long time, and now you should know what the emotional problems on our earth are going on. We have never been together. To me, you are not at all emotion. Satsuma's finger when pouring tea trembled slightly, but she calmly spoke immediately. Well, I understand, don't think too much about it. We people in the biochemical empire always give birth to children this way. If you don't want to, Wrong won't call you daddy, and I will find a place with him. Don't disturb your life. You still don't understand us earthlings. Jia Yan shook his head. He smiled bitterly. If he talked about earth people's sense of responsibility or something, it didn't seem to make sense, because there were many people on Earth who abandoned their wives and children, and if he wanted to talk about accepting the other party, it was impossible for Jia Yan to say it. No feeling means no feeling. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 826. Remember new in 1 second. At least now, Jia Yan doesn't have any feelings for Satsuma. Okay, we can talk about things slowly. I know that your lifespan is already very long because you are powerful, and my lifespan will also be very long because you are a perfect biochemical creature. There will be a lot of time in the future. Let's talk about something else. Satsumakan looked at Jia Yan, and the look in her eyes made Jia Yan's heart skip a beat. Because this look seems to say, I am relying on you. But she didn't say it out loud. I know you want to come over and ask me, not only about the things between us, but also about other things, right? Satsuma Soma asked. Jia Yan was startled, so she knew her true purpose. He looked slightly embarrassed. Yes, the main thing I wanted to ask about here was about your biochemical empire. The news about the Asta Empire has not been transmitted yet. Your biochemical empire has captured the Asta Empire for a long time. I can see that the biochemical empire is very powerful, and it seems far from being as simple as I thought before. Can you tell me about it? Satsumakan also pondered slightly after hearing Jia Yan's words. I am a member of the biochemical empire who was born and raised on the gray-yellow star, so I don't know much about the biochemical empire itself. Now that you ask about it, I just thought about it. It seems that our biochemical empire's war against the star field is all a matter of war. He has an indifferent attitude. Even my father has a state of coping with the war on the gray star. Oh, then you know, does your biochemical empire have a larger force in the outer star field? Jia Yan asked quickly. In fact, this is what Jia Yan wanted to ask the most when he came to ask Satsuma's shrine today. The strength of the biochemical empire is like a thorn in Jia Yan's throat, stuck in his throat and unable to be pulled out, which is very uncomfortable. The people on Earth are on the road to development, but if something happens to the biochemical empire, the efforts of the people on Earth for so many years will be in vain, and the entire race may even be destroyed. Jia Yan had to pay attention. I don't quite understand this. However, Satsuma was a little confused, and her expression didn't look like she was pretending. But not long after, she seemed to think of something. But my father once said that the place outside the Orion Arm is the real territory of the biochemical empire. There are extremely powerful emperors there. I always listened to this as a story when I was a child. If our empire is really like you think it's so powerful, maybe what my father said is true. Jia Yan fell silent after hearing Satsuma Kono's words. At this moment, he suddenly thought of a lot. Before, he had been thinking about the relationship between the biochemical empire and the great being of the Zerg that was paying attention to him, but now he thought about it, they were basically two forces. The two major forces were coalition forces in the Orion Arm, but they did not represent they are also close to the outside world. Moreover, the history of the biochemical empire can be traced. Many high-level officials in this empire are strong men who grew up within the arms of Orion, but the Zerg are different. They seem to have appeared suddenly, and then formed an alliance with the biochemical empire to join forces here. The battle within Orion's arms. If I'm not mistaken, the biochemical empire and the Zerg have different views in this Orion Arm. If the biochemical empire is very powerful in the outside world, then they are only training their juniors in this Orion Arm, or even just cultivating them here. In the new generation, even if they launch an attack, they will be like before, and the strong people behind them will not care. The more Jia Yan thought about it, the more he thought about it, but the existence of the so-called Zerg tribe was different. At least before, it was this big moth monster of the Zerg tribe that chased his earthly power, and then made a galaxy-level being watch his life. If you put it this way, the threat from the biochemical empire shouldn't be great. After Jia Yan thought for a while, he came up with this truth. After all, the opponent no longer cares about this star field. Even if they want to attack, they will only send some beings less than a star level to attack, just like the black and white goose attacking the Asta Empire. And by the time they realized that there seemed to be a threat that could grow to a stellar level within the Orion arm, Jia Yan's real body at that time might have already reached the stellar level. When introduced, he will be afraid of nothing. Even if he can't defeat a galaxy-level being, why can't he run away with the people on Earth? If he delays for a little longer, if Jia Yan reaches the high-level star level or even reaches the galaxy level, what else is he afraid of? By then it will be on an equal footing with other Galaxy Class 1s, and there will be no need to worry about any danger at all. Thinking of this, Jia Yan nodded, finally clarifying his future path and thoughts. You are leaving. After seeing the uncertain changes in Jia Yan's expression for a period of time, he seemed to suddenly become enlightened. Satsamakan asked, like a roundworm in Jia Yan's belly. Well, thank you for your answer. I will think about it carefully about you and your child. Jia Yan nodded. Well, I hope you become stronger. Satsuma-gun seemed to have something she wanted to say, but she couldn't say it. She just blinked at Jia Yan with her eyes full of complex emotions. Jia Yan nodded again, then stood up and left. Although he was a little embarrassed, he still didn't have too many feelings for this woman. After all, she was a monster in the past. Although Jia Yan himself was also a monster, he couldn't accept it. Okay, it's time to talk to your family, and then find a place to quietly focus on your real body. Jia Yan felt that his clone's strength was much weaker. After running around for several years and fighting, even though his clone had saved strength, his current strength was still around a high level of Seeing Kong, although this strength could also transcend ranks. Kill the enemy, kill a venerable, but after all, he is much weaker. Now he needs to find a place to quietly protect this power, and wait until his real body stabilizes before he comes out to move around. After Jia Yan left the house in Satsuma, Jiarong walked out of the room and looked at his mother. Others couldn't read his mother's expression, but he could understand it. She is lonely. Especially after watching many movies and TV shows about people on Earth, I feel even more sentimental. Mom, is he gone? Jiarong asked. Well, don't blame your father. There was a reason for all of this back then. It was all my fault. Satsumako has not told Jiarong what happened back then. She is afraid that her child will be unhappy if he finds out. It's not your fault. Just wait. I must become stronger as soon as possible. I will defeat him in the future and let him admit you. Jiarong's small face was filled with uncontrollable anger. His strength is now at the upper stage of the starry sky, and under this anger, he seems to be a little loose, and he is about to explode towards the high-level sky level. Like father, like son. Although Jia Yan's talent for evolving beasts was not passed on to Jiarong, his cultivation speed was not slow at all. Of course, chasing Jia Yan is not difficult, but, basically impossible. Jia Yan was not far from the house. Even if he didn't want to hear it, he still heard the child's words. Who made him shout it out so firmly? Ha, this child. Jia Yan sighed, but he didn't think much about it. Even if he didn't want to admit this child, the other person's aura and stubborn temper still made him feel that he was very similar to himself. Uncle Chirp. When he came to Jia Lin's house, Jia Yan felt something different. It turned out that the two little nieces were different from Jiarong. They were still children, running around and playing around. Although Jiaruo is small, she already has the power of brain waves. Her little feet are running on the floor, and she is running very fast with the power of brain waves. Jia-Chi is flying in front of her, and the two little guys are playing Ghost Game. Seeing Jia Yan's arrival, Jia Qi rushed over almost immediately. "Uncle Chirp." Just as Jia Yan caught it, a little guy crawled under his feet, and Jia Ruo also rushed towards him. Children are like this. As long as you are nice to them, they will be close to you immediately. Although Jia Ruo can't remember the Jia Yan she met 2 years ago, she knows that Jia Yan is good to her. After meeting a few times, we became acquainted with each other and liked Jia Yan as much as my sister. Brother, they stopped wanting me when you came here. I'm so jealous. Jia Lin smiled helplessly when she saw her daughters hanging around Jia Yan's neck like koalas when they saw Jia Yan. She didn't know what was wrong with the two children. Maybe she knew that the greatest person in the family was her uncle. When she saw him and the people she was closest to, she refused to let him go. Haha, you don't have to worry after today. I will be in seclusion for a while. Jia Yan looked at his sister funny. Jia Lin is over 30 years old, but she still looks like a child, and her face has only matured a little. If you let people from decades ago say it, might not be enough. I think she is still a child under 20. Of course, some of this is due to Jia Lin's own maintenance skills. Another biggest reason is that the genes of the entire people on Earth have changed. Through the cultivation of medicine through alien technology, the lifespan of the entire human race has been greatly improved. Some scientists predict, this group of Earthlings in their 20s and 30s will have a lifespan of about 170 years, and those with prefecture-level strength will definitely live to be over 200 years old. So Jia Lin still looks like a teenage girl, which is extremely normal. She even has the most powerful medical care on Earth, and with the arrival of medical scientists from the Rulan Empire, she may be able to live more than 300 years old. Not only her, but the entire Jia family is like this. Brother, you want to retreat? Just like in the novel? You look so powerful, no wonder you are so powerful. Jia Lin didn't understand the things of the strong at all, so she just marveled. When she heard that her brother was not far away, she had nothing to worry about. She didn't know that this brother was just a clone. After greeting Jia Lin's family, Jia Yan went to his parents again. Mom and Dad, I'm going to be in seclusion for a while this time. You should take good care of your body. Medical scientists from the Rulan Empire have also come here recently. Don't say anything if you feel uncomfortable. Jia Yan discussed similar topics with his parents again. This volume is over. Please stay tuned for the next volume. Genius Battlefield. Reborn as an Interstellar Giant Mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 827. Don't worry, since I drank that nutrient solution and nourishing body fluid last time, look at Dad, my hair has turned black again. If they hadn't said that I wasn't talented, I would have wanted to learn brainwave power like you. Now, I feel as strong as when I was a young boy. Jia's father felt as happy as anything when he heard Jia Yan talk about the body. Jia Yan also smiled. Of course he could know the physical condition of his parents through the power of brain waves. Their current health is better than that of 20-year-olds, and Jia Yan also understands that science, technology, and medicine on the earth have all made great efforts on the two elders. To something that is not that simple. Okay then, I will go into seclusion. You must take care of your body. After Jia Yan said goodbye to his two elders, he contacted some of his subordinates. Of course, it was impossible for them to get a personal interview from him, but through the power of brain waves, he directly transmitted some words to him. From today on, the civilization of the Earth will directly enter the eyes of the surrounding interstellar civilizations, and for these civilizations, it will become a powerful civilization that although the civilization is not strong, it is still unable to compete. Because of Jia Yan, the status of the people on Earth will be very high, and the next step will be the opportunity to develop technology and trade with each civilization. In all of this, Jia Yan will not be able to help the people on Earth. Everything depends on the people on Earth and related people. The efforts of alien technicians. Finally, everything I wanted to say and everyone I wanted to see had been seen and spoken to. Jia Yan didn't know how long he would be away from the Earth this time, but he knew that it might be an extremely distant time. Arriving on the forest floor somewhere in Jia's house, Jia Yan looked around again. Then he jumped directly towards the ground. Boom boom boom. The entire ground shook, and large tracts of soil flew up. But this sound and vibration were directly controlled by a strange brainwave power. And above his sinking body, the forest was filled with a large amount of leaves, as if nothing had happened. It wasn't until he was more than 1,000 meters underground that Jia Yan took control of his body and slowly stopped his movements. Okay, let's retreat, or switch to the real body, let's start. Jia Yan closed his eyes. Things on Earth are over, but this is just a journey in the process of Jia Yan's journey. His true form is his foundation. Although Jia Yan himself is not willing to admit it, what he did in the Orion arm was just a game that seemed to relax during the journey. For him, everything still needs to return to his true body, which is his foundation. From the beginning to the end, he was not the human like Jia Yan, but just a big mosquito. Master, are you awake? We are almost reaching the genius battlefield. The little light and shadow giant mosquito Edisha immediately flew over when she saw the big mosquito regaining its composure, and kept surrounding him. Well, during the time I was asleep, did the prince do anything strange? The first thing Jia Yan said after he recovered was that he was concerned about the safety of the Edissa. That silly prince, this guy is not dangerous. I pretended to be the master and chatted with him, and he believed him. He was a very funny monster. The Aditha flew proudly beside Jia Yan. Fly away. In fact, he had become a little lonely during the past few years of flying, so he pretended to be Jia Yan to tease the so-called prince. Okay, now that I'm awake, you can't pretend to be a fool in my name anymore. Jia Yan knew what that scene looked like without even thinking about it. It was Adisha's nature to love to play, and he must be interested in that. So-called the prince told a lot of lies. Although Edissa is also a brain-like existence, he has his own personality. Just like his predecessor, the light and shadow monster, his personality is as playful as a child. Jia Yan had no intention of seeing the so-called prince of the Losai Empire. Now he was just paying attention to the destination he was about to reach. Genius battlefield. In the starry sky, a huge aircraft that had been flying for several years arrived at a star field. Master, just take the Aditha. In this star field, it is a bit dazzling for a lord to own such a battleship, but it is also possible for a genius to own such a battleship. You'd better show some strength, that way others will not think you are easy to bully. Edissa reminds Jia Yan a lot. Following his words, the Edissa quickly slid out of the jumping space. This is still a starry sky. There were stars all around, and everything looked the same as what we usually see. But Jia Yan understood that everything around him was different. Not only is the power of the universe different, but even the unique charm of the northern star field is different. There is indeed a faint difference between the starry sky and the starry sky. At this moment, Jia Yan finally verified his idea. When he just arrived from the solar system to the northern star field, he had felt the difference in the distant star field. And at this moment, he felt a sense of charm that was different from the solar system and the northern star field. The starry sky is still the scenery of the starry sky, but this scenery is different from any place I have ever seen. Master, we have traveled for 2 full years before arriving at this genius battlefield. It is almost 20,000 light-years away from the northern starfield. The Edisha is not an aircraft that specializes in flying, so in terms of speed, the advantage is not big. It's not bad even after 2 years. Edisha was flying up and down next to Jia Yan, as if she was explaining to the Edisha. I know, 20,000 light-years and 2 years is almost beyond my imagination. Where Jia Yan apologized to Edisha, there was no dissatisfaction. Although the space capsule he took reached the Earth more than 10,000 light-years away, and it only took a few months, the space capsule is a professional aircraft and is much smaller. This is not an advancement in technology, but professionalism, and it's just different for non-professionals. Yeah, well, I know that the master understands the Edisha best. Not far ahead is the entrance to the Genius battlefield. Did master see it? That is the Genius battlefield over there. Following Edisha's introduction, Jia Yan saw the starry sky in a distant place. I saw that land of nothingness, with a faint cyan brilliance that was different from the ordinary starry sky, encompassing a large area of the stars. Looking from a distance, the huge starry sky that spans more than 1,000 light-years seems to be enveloped in a green brilliance, like an irregular sphere. Unexpectedly, this beautiful starry sky scene is exactly where the Genius battlefield is. Master, the entire star field of Genius battlefield naturally forms a large area of energy isolation. Although star-level existences can use power in this star field, they cannot exert their full power. Therefore, this star field, only this domain, will be regarded as a Genius battle domain by the two superpowers. The stellar level cannot exert its most powerful power in it. Oh, I see. Then if I go there, will these two major forces accept it? Jia Yan asked with some doubts. Haha, master, they don't care about your birth. It seems that these two major forces are just to cultivate new people. Geniuses from any force can enter, and they welcome geniuses among geniuses like master. Of course, if you are really powerful and have outstanding prospects, they will send out personnel to recruit you. But even if the recruitment is unsuccessful, they will not do anything to you. For a galaxy-level powerhouse, it is not as good as a star-level one. Genius is not a genius at all. A genius who is less than a stellar level is not considered a genius at all. When Jia Yan heard this, his eyes flashed with astonishment. He had always been confident in his talent, but he didn't expect that in this Genius battlefield, his less than star level existence would be even regarded as a genius. No strength at all. Master, don't be unsure. They don't know your talent. It would be troublesome if they knew. Okay, we are almost there. When people ask you about your grade or something, just follow the maximum limit asked by the system. No one knows your true age, and no one knows your true talent. The Edissa has been moving forward, and the cyan star field in front of it is slowly approaching, just like all star fields that appear to be colored when viewed from a distance, but have no color when up close. This cyan star field range, after the spacecraft slowly approached, the bookstore also became the same pitch black color as the surrounding universe, with no trace of cyan at all. And Jia Yan saw that the surrounding starry sky seemed to have a sense of depression. This depression did not suppress him much, but he could feel that there were beings who were stronger than him, that is, at the star level. Some were suppressed. Is this the suppression of the Genius battlefield? That's it. Jia Yan felt it for a while, then nodded. In the direction in which the Edissa was heading, battleships or spaceships slowly appeared one after another. It seems that in this starry sky, the boundary between battleships and spaceships is blurred. Battleships look like ordinary spaceships, and ordinary spaceships also have extremely advanced equipment. Jia Yan even saw a huge warship twice the size of the Edissa flying slowly past the Edissa. What a big battleship! Jia Yan was almost dumbfounded when he saw this battleship. Looking at the cannon fire on other people, he knew at a glance that it was something not to be underestimated. Maybe one of them could stir up a bloody storm even in the northern star field. Little did they know that Jia Yan shocked others, but others were truly surprised when they saw the Edissa. Ho ho, that aircraft is so big, even bigger than our fear. Haha, the Genius battlefield is indeed an interesting place. I thought I would be too eye-catching when I drove this battleship, but there were actually people bigger than me when I arrived. The Terror is also a huge aircraft. It's interesting. Reborn as an interstellar giant Mosquito author, Bulletin U. Chapter 828. Remember new in 1 second. Inside the huge battleship, there was actually only one strong man piloting it. At this time, he looked at the Aditya and his light flashed. But now the two sides will not say anything, but fly forward one after the other. There are more and more battleships and spaceships around. Just like what Edisha said, Jia Yan found that although the creatures here seemed to be surprised by the size of the Edisha, none of them showed any special shock. It can be seen that they are all well-informed beings. In other words, this genius battlefield is more prosperous than the northern starfield, otherwise it would not be a surprise to see the Aditya. The ships were lined up, and no one was doing maintenance in any order at this time, but they were able to silence the warships and spaceships that seemed to know that they should not be underestimated. The queue ahead was very long, and the giant Edissa had to wait in the queue for 3 days before reaching the end of the queue. "Master, get off the boat. We have to go in here for questioning and inspection." At Edisha's reminder, Jia Yan got off the spacecraft. And the prince from the Losai Empire also got off the Edisha. "Haha, buddy, it's been 2 years and this is the first time I've seen you. But you and I were very happy chatting via voice. Brother, you have to take good care of me when you come to this genius battlefield." When the prince saw Jia Yan, he thought he was the master he had been chatting with for 2 years, and now he started talking to Jia Yan familiarly. The two powerful men entered a huge building floating in the starry sky. This huge building is a house-like object that is more than 40,000 meters high. There are countless creatures living in it, and there are countless strong ones. When Jia Yan just approached this place, his whole body shook violently, and then he looked at the building with some horror. It turns out that there is an extremely terrifying being in this building, releasing his own pressure as a strong man, making the geniuses and strong men around him feel suppressed. This is a stellar being. Jia Yan couldn't help but have some thoughts about this place that he didn't dare to draw too much attention to. Then he and Prince Na Losai entered the tall first-floor hall of the building. "Strong people who have signed up to enter the genius battlefield, please enter the passage here. Your family members and Sui Yi will stay outside." A starry sky lord shouted in the lobby on the first floor. In front of him, there was a biological powerhouse who looked young, lining up. Jia Yan entered the queue with a wry smile. After being a strong man for so long, he didn't expect to experience the feeling of queuing again. Fortunately, the team was moving very fast and he entered a room. There is a strong man inside, whose strength is about half a star level. He was like a giant dragon. When he saw Jia Yan entering, he just raised his eyelids and looked. Seeing that Jia Yan was just a venerable person and didn't have much fluctuation, he asked directly. "Hello, which star field are you from?" "Orion Arm," Jia Yan answered honestly. "This uses the language of this star field. Jia Yan learned it from the Edissa on the way here, and this language is common in the more prosperous areas of the entire galaxy. This means that Jia Yan will there is no need to learn so many languages so frequently." "Oh." Orion Arm, the dragon-like creature, looked up at Jia Yan in surprise. "Well, there is still some atmosphere from the Losai Empire. It seems that you have traveled everywhere. Okay, let me take a look at your age." That giant dragon Sheng half-star level powerhouse exuded pressure that far exceeded the several half-star level beings Jia Yan had seen before. This made Jia Yan a little shocked. It seemed that there was a difference in strength among the half-star level beings. If this giant dragon makes a move against him, Jia Yan might not even have a chance to escape. Sure enough, it is a place far beyond the northern star territory. "Huh. How old are you?" As everyone knows, Jia Yan was shocked by the strength of this giant dragon, but the other party was also surprised by Jia Yan's age. This intelligent brain that detects the composition and fluctuations of life estimates that you are between 30 and 60 years old. In other words, you have practiced for up to 60 years to reach the level of a venerable. Tell me, what exactly is it? Is it 30 or 60? The giant dragon master showed an expression of interest. You must know that those who can cultivate to become a master in 30 years are also very rare in the genius battlefield, and even only a few well-known beings can compare. Jia Yan remembered Adish's words. He pondered for a while. 30 years old. If we really calculate it like this, his real body may not have survived for more than 30 years. However, he did not directly say his actual age. Sir, I am already 60 years old. Jia Yan replied. Oh, that must be something wrong with this smart brain. After all, the life fluctuations of each race are different. You are still a Shenghua form that none of us have seen. It's normal for him to make miscalculations. Isn't this a 60-year-old venerable person? You are qualified to enter my genius battlefield, and you are very good. But I want to remind you that although the genius battlefield is reserved for geniuses, there is still life and death in it, and it is even more exaggerated than the outside world. If you are afraid, hope I quit. After hearing Jia Yan's words, the giant dragon man didn't have too many doubts. Ji now detects age, after all, it is accurate for familiar beings. This is the first time he has seen a monster like Jia Yan, and Ji now also without records. It is normal for errors to occur. Jia Yan was released by this strong man. After ordering a card and a very small brain, he left the room, and the next powerful genius entered. Every strong person around him showed the arrogance of a genius. Jia Yan was lying on the ground, and every existence he saw was either a high-ranking person in the starry sky or a venerable person, and everyone looked very young. Not many are over 100 years old. Brother, did you pass? I couldn't enter originally, but I said I was the royal family of the Luok Empire, and they let me in, haha. The prince of the Losai Empire also left the room, but he made a sound that made all the creatures around him look bad. They all need to compete with their age and strength to enter the genius battlefield, but this guy can enter just by reporting his family background. The geniuses here look down on those who rely on family background. Humph, where is the Losai Empire? It's a corner of the country. It seems that the genius battlefield is getting worse every year. Even these two guys from the countryside can enter through the back door. A person who looked a bit like the fox monster, with its fur flashing with sparks, looked coldly at Jia Yan and the prince of the Losai Empire, and said mockingly. Jia Yan was stunned. He wanted to say that he didn't go through the back door, but with that idiot prince, he really didn't have any good excuses to say when he was misunderstood. You dare to say that our great Losai Empire is a backward place? You have the ability to fight with a genius from a backward place like me. The prince of the Losai Empire was indeed a brainless fool. When others were agitated, he retorted. The fox was indeed a creature that looked like a fox. When he heard his words, a smile appeared on his expression. This strong fox is also a young being who has passed the entry test. If he wants to achieve fame in the genius battlefield and be recruited by the powerful genius forces, he must make a name for himself. Now he has flirted with a starry sky peaker who looks extremely stupid, which is his first step in making a name for himself. As for the flying creature like being on the fool's side, it seems that its strength has reached the level of a venerable, which is a bit difficult to deal with. But if it can be with that fool, it must not be a difficult existence to deal with. Humph, let's fight. There happens to be a competition arena for geniuses just outside this building. Let's go up there and try our hand at it. Of course, don't say I bully you two country trash. You two can go up together if you want. The strong fox sneered and walked out of the building first. Want to fight both of us at the same time? Bro, let's go. I can handle this guy by myself. You give me the last shot for my brother. The prince of the Losai Empire snorted coldly and walked out. Jia Yan was speechless and wanted to touch his forehead. This guy can't even see his strength clearly. The opponent is a venerable man. He is just a star. He can tell with just his toes that he cannot be his opponent. This guy actually acts like he will definitely win. It's just crazy. But do you think I'm a waste? Haha, interesting. Something strange flashed in Jia Yanfu's eyes, and then he followed out. This strong fox seems to be a being in his 90s. He has reached the rank of venerable in his 90s. He is also a very outstanding genius in his hometown. After arriving in this genius battlefield, only then did he realize that his talent did not seem to be so unique. Because the geniuses near the queue were all geniuses who were not much different from him. He even heard one venerable say that he was only over 70 years old. This was so embarrassing for him. If he wants to obtain powerful resources in the genius battlefield, and if he wants to win the favor of the genius forces there, he must show his talent and combat effectiveness, then he must think about something like that silly second-generation Quan. On the strong man. After winning a battle, as long as the previously distributed recording machine is turned on, a record will be left in genius battlefield and the points will increase. Outside the building, a huge circular battle platform covering 1,000 square kilometers was placed in the starry sky. Okay, you can come together, come on. It's just two idiots, so what if we let them go together? This is what the fox monster thinks now. He pressed a few buttons on his brain, which meant he started recording the genius battle, and then he flew straight up to the battle platform. Behind him, His Royal Highness the Prince of Losai Empire, and Jia Yan, who was regarded as a fool like the prince, also took steps to arrive here. Haha, what do you want my brother to do to deal with you? I am enough alone. The Prince of the Losai Empire laughed loudly, and then flew towards the high platform seemingly confidently. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 829. Welcome to Renren Novel. Please remember the address of this website, read on your mobile phone so that you can read the latest chapter of the novel Rebirth of the Giant Mosquito in the Starry Sky at any time. Jia Yan shook his head. Sure enough, before even 10 seconds passed, I saw a flash of light in the vacuum. The huge prince's body flew backwards directly. Wow, brother, this kid is hard to deal with, Prince Losai of the Great Empire roared while spitting out blood. Let's run away. When he came to the ground, he didn't know whether it was because of his unique body or whether the opponent had a hold on him, but he still pulled Jia Yan up with one of his lively feet and wanted to run for his life. He seemed to have forgotten that Jia Yan's strength far exceeded the question of how much he didn't know. Once Jia Yan's body froze, the opponent couldn't pull him at all. The pig monster seemed to have some reaction at this time. Jia Yan seemed to be stronger than him. After that, Jia Yan moved his steps and slowly walked up to the high platform step by step. Oh? You want to fight with me too? Come on. When the fox genius saw Jia Yan take the stage, he somewhat restrained his demeanor and spoke with a slightly solemn tone. Although he is confident in his own strength, the other person is also a venerable person and he will not be overly arrogant. After all, although geniuses are confident, blind confidence cannot be called a genius at all. But he didn't think that Jia Yan was much stronger than the pig monster he defeated with one move before. They were not on the same level. How could they get together? If the other party was strong, he wouldn't get along with that trash. But what he didn't know was that Jia Yan was just using a flying tool to take the Prince of the Losai Empire with him, and he couldn't be called a friend. Sir, I wonder where you are a genius? Among the geniuses there, are you considered very powerful? Jia Yan looked at the fox monster and asked softly. Why should I tell you? When the fox monster heard Jia Yan's words, he immediately felt that the other person was different from the nonsense pig monster. His Excellency, the Prince of the Luok Empire, gave him a feeling of madness, but this flying creature expressed his character in one sentence. Calm and patient. Jia Yan walked step by step and came to the center of the high platform. He was not in a hurry to fight. Then can you tell me, in this genius battlefield, what kind of talent can be called the genius among geniuses? He asked calmly. Genius among geniuses? Do you think you can do it? Haha, I advise you not to think too much. Those who come here are geniuses from various star fields. Most geniuses within a range of 10,000 or 20,000 light years will come here. Experience, and among so many geniuses, there are very few true geniuses. They are usually born in large forces. I don't think you are worthy of carrying their shoes. The fox monster looked at Jia Yan coldly, as if attacking him. Of course, he felt that what he said was also true. In his opinion, the other party's strength could not be that of a genius. Oh, don't you even deserve to carry your shoes? Jia Yan laughed again. Then he moved his 6 legs and spoke softly. Then let's fight and see. After saying that, Jia Yan was the first to attack. The fox monster seemed to have seen a ghost. Jia Yan, 1 kilometer away, suddenly disappeared. Then an unprecedented sense of crisis enveloped him. As a well-known genius in the star field, this fox monster was certainly not a vegetarian. At the first moment when the sense of crisis appeared, he moved his body. I saw a flash of light in the starry sky. When the light and shadow passed, the fox monster dodged aside in a very embarrassed manner, but a strand of long hair on his tail had already been lost. It was bare, as if it had been cut by some sharp blade. A flash of horror flashed in the fox monster's eyes, and he saw that the flying monster who was talking to him had appeared there at some unknown time, and one of his front legs was in an attacking position. It has a sharp shape, and there are still some long hairs from its tail on its sharp front feet. You are different from that trash, you are actually a master. The fox monster said in shock. A master? Jia Yan nodded in shock. He was shocked by the strength of this so-called genius fox monster. How could an ordinary venerable level bear this blow if it were in the northern star region? He used at least 20% of his strength. For the venerables of the northern star region, this was life and death crisis level power. The fox monster seemed to have narrowly escaped, and was more frightened by Jia Yan's speed of traveling through space. It still had more powerful power that it had not used. Interesting. Jia Yan smiled from the bottom of his heart. He had never underestimated the genius battlefield, but now that he saw such a powerful leader, he was even more looking forward to the future. Don't underestimate me, I was just shocked by your spatial ability. Come again. The fox monster no longer dared to underestimate Jia Yan's strength, and shouted at Jia Yan with a strange look in his eyes. The prince of the Losai Empire in the audience, the pig monster, also responded at this time, knowing that Jia Yan's strength was far beyond his imagination. Brother, come on, this kid deserves a beating, give him a humming beating. The pig monster roared excitedly, as if he was afraid that others wouldn't hear. There are more good people gathered around, and each of them is either a genius or a family member or subordinate who sent the genius here. This genius battlefield is different. The fox monster on the stage is the genius of our star field. It is said that it was only 3 days ago in our place. But in front of the flying creature, it is still a little embarrassed. It seems that this genius battlefield it's really a hidden dragon and a crouching tiger. A young-looking monster looked at the 2 people fighting on the stage and said in shock. Who says it isn't? I don't think I can even defeat that fox monster, and the flying strongman on the other side, I can't even feel his depth, it's so powerful. Don't think that the flying monster is powerful. The battle between strong men is not that simple. Maybe the fox monster will change the battle situation later. The battle is not just about momentum and one move or two. Regarding recruitment, I see that this battle still needs to be fought. One by one, seemingly strong beings were analyzing the battle situation on the side. Jia Yan looked at the creatures below and thought for a moment in his heart. You can't use too much strength. I have just arrived in the genius battlefield. If you are too eye-catching, it may have some adverse effects on me in the future. Then I can use 40% of my strength at most, which is doubled. I think this fox must no matter how strong you are, you can never defeat me. While Jia Yan was pondering for a moment, the fox monster rushed to Jia Yan like a bolt of lightning. With one blow, his claws seemed to be able to cut through the vacuum, and a sharp light lit up in the universe. Jia Yan's body did not move much, but moved within the minimum range of dodge, but he avoided the opponent's attack exquisitely. How can it be? The fox monster seemed to have seen something incredible, so it exploded and attacked again. Jia Yan wanted to see his attack pattern, but he kept dodging and didn't attack at all. That's not right. The strong fox is actually being played with by the flying monster like a child. It seems that even though they are both genius-level sages, the opponent's strength is completely superior to that of the fox monster. A person watching the battle showed shock in his eyes, feeling incredible about Jia Yan's strength. This is not necessarily true. The strength of some races lies in evasion. Maybe he is also like this. The true strength will only be known after collision. Some strong people don't see Jia Yan's talent, or they don't believe it. Jia Yan's strength will be stronger than them. Geniuses at the venerable level account for more than half of the existences that enter the genius battlefield. To put it bluntly, these strong men will compete for resources in the future. Naturally, they do not want to see another strong man stronger than themselves appear. But hope is hope, reality is reality. Under the attack of the strong fox, Jia Yan used his strength extremely skillfully, dodging his attacks step by step. His performance was calm and gentle, which was not the so-called avoidance at all. Talented person. There is a fundamental gap in strength. Is like this. Asshole, do you dare to confront me head-on? The strong fox couldn't accept the fact that he couldn't hit Jia Yan, and roared in anger. A strange light flashed in Jia Yan's eyes. He deliberately allowed the opponent to attack so many times. He had already roughly figured out the strength of this existence, and also explored the edges of the so-called genius's strength in the genius battlefield. As you wish. Now that the other party's use value is gone, Jia Yan doesn't have to hold back. One strike. Like a bolt of lightning, the front foot collided with the killing claws of the strong fox. Ah! The strong fox screamed, and then one of his claws fell directly to the ground. The bloody appearance meant that Jia Yan was not really merciful. You win. The fox genius looked at Jia Yan fiercely, and then left the high platform in embarrassment. This time he wanted to win a good battle, but it ended with him being killed with one blow. He couldn't help but be embarrassed. So strong. I wouldn't be able to withstand this blow. What's the name of this strong man? He's too powerful. The beings watching the battle looked at Jia Yan in shock, feeling that this genius seemed to be beyond the level of their ordinary geniuses and looked very mysterious. Haha, of course my buddy is very powerful. His name is... The pig prince of the Luok Empire burst into laughter. He didn't seem to care about the result of his defeat at all, but because Jia Yan came with him. Yes, I feel very proud. But when he wanted to mention Jia Yan's name, he was stunned. Because they have been together for so long, he doesn't even know Jia Yan's name. He held it back and couldn't say Jia Yan's name at all. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito author, Bulletin U. Chapter 830. Click here to read on mobile phone. When Jia Yan and Prince Nalyasai Empire left the genius battlefield entrance building, there were still some watching eyes around them. Oriental Novels Reading Network. Although every once in a while, there will be some geniuses fighting on this high platform, after all, fighting here is also allowed by the genius battlefield. But there are not many battles that can be won so simply. When both sides are respected, the gap between geniuses should not be so huge, because geniuses are only a few, and generally the gap between geniuses is not that big. But Jia Yan's performance made others know that this flying creature-like existence was a true high-level genius. Brother, you are so powerful. In fact, I knew your strength just now. In order to teach you a lesson, I didn't use my full strength. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to show up. I can deal with him. The prince of the Losai Empire followed Jia Yan behind him, talking eloquently. Especially after knowing Jia Yan's strength, he became even more heartless and followed Jia Yan almost everywhere and refused to leave. Brother, let's go in immediately. When the time comes, I will introduce you to the genius force in my empire. We, as brothers, will work together and we will definitely make a name for ourselves in this genius battlefield. He followed and told Jia Yan. Jia Yan did not refuse. He originally brought this king here to let him take him to his so-called place of power. The genius battlefield is not the same as the northern starfield. There are even star-level geniuses here, and some are even stronger than the star level outside. Although there are limitations of cosmic power, it is still impossible for me to deal with it now. If you join a force, you can at least survive the initial period of time. Jia Yan pondered, but acquiesced in what the other party said. After boarding the Edisha, I secretly observed Jia Yan's beings and suddenly realized something. The Edisha is too huge, and you can tell at first glance that it is not something that ordinary people can ride on. Even at the entrance to this battlefield where there are so many talented people, there are only a few people who own it. No wonder Jia Yan is so powerful. Maybe he is. Maybe a genius trained by a big force. Otherwise, how could there be such a huge aircraft? A group of geniuses passed the entrance inspection, and then drove the aircraft into the starry sky in front of the starry sky building. Master, your performance just now was very good. If you can get some points in the early stage of entering the genius battlefield, it will be good for you at the beginning. Edisha jumped out. He did not follow Jia Yan to the building just now, because there was a strong star-level man sitting there. Although the other party may not necessarily see an intelligent being like Edisha, he did not dare to take the risk. Points? I just turned on the recording function of Genius Battlefield, but I don't know the function of points yet. Jia Yan how opened the Genius Battlefield intelligent brain that he just received. What happened during his battle just now is played here. Jia Yan keenly felt that inside the brain, there was a display screen showing the score of 1. This must be the point. Master, points can be exchanged for supplies. The genius battlefield can attract so many genius creatures. It is not just a simple battle between geniuses, but it has countless resources, no matter what kind of life form or what kind of creature it is. You can get huge benefits in this genius battlefield through promotion methods. Although you are a unique creature, you can still get corresponding benefits here. I am sure that as long as you work well in this genius battlefield with cultivation, you might be able to become a star here. Edisha said something to Jia Yan. There are so many supplies. Is there anything suitable for me? Jia Yan looked at the brain in shock. He still doesn't know what kind of resources he needs to evolve to a star level, which is also the Orion arm. As for the starry sky behemoth, is it really possible to find an opportunity in this genius battlefield? After receiving a series of introductions from Edisha, Jia Yan began to continue to understand the genius battlefield. This place is huge, with a radius of more than 1,000 light years, and there are 2 extremely powerful super forces as supporters. Almost no force dares to disrupt the rules here. The entrance is located in several places throughout the entire 1,000 light years, with more than 100 similar buildings. So this is the representative. When Jia Yan saw this information, his eyes flashed with shock. If the information is true, then it means that there are more than 100 entrance buildings on the edge of the entire genius battlefield, and each building is similar in strength. So based on the basic requirements for a building to have a star-level person in charge, just the standing force on the periphery of the genius battlefield, more than 100 star-level experts. His eyes narrowed with difficulty. After that, Jia Yan shook his head with a wry smile. No wonder Edisha said that the genius battlefield didn't care about the strong men below the star level at all. No matter how powerful the venerable they were, they wouldn't be shocked. Because this force is too powerful, the venerable level is looked at by others, just like Jia Yan looks at the heavenly level powerhouse now. No matter how powerful he is, it doesn't matter, right? That's okay. I just have to correct my mentality. Maybe there are venerables with the same strength as me in this genius battlefield. Although Jia Yan doesn't want to admit that there are sages as powerful as himself, the entire galaxy is too big. He has only been to a few remote places. There are no geniuses in other places who can reach his level. Nothing to blame. The genius battlefield has gathered at least 10,000 to 20,000 light-years of powerful geniuses. There will be several existences close to his strength. There is nothing to be surprised about. However, I will definitely be proud of this genius battlefield in the future, just wait. Jia Yan's eyes were a little bright. He was in the Edissa, looking at the starry sky in front of him, with great ambition in his heart. The genius battlefield possesses the law of cosmic energy. There is no existence above half-star level here that can fully use its power. Of course, some powerful people have said that galaxy-level existences are not included in this list. However, the galaxy-level powerhouses are too powerful, and they stand at the apex of life in the entire galaxy. No one knows how powerful they are, and they will not appear easily. Therefore, in this genius battlefield, the power that the star level can use is not complete. The average genius can only stay here for 100 or 200 years after promotion. After this time, geniuses must be born. It's time for war zone. Because reaching the star level is the time for genius to graduate. As for the entrance to the genius battlefield, except for these more than 100 places, other places cannot enter at all, because the entire star field is agitated with energy, and even star-level beings will be affected by the agitation. Even if Xiao Xian enters the genius battlefield, he will be discovered by the existence of the genius battlefield. When a star-level mission is released, there will be genius star levels in the genius battlefield to pursue and suppress them, and even ordinary star-level stars from the outside who cannot exert their strength. You will be killed by some incredible semi-star geniuses inside. Therefore, even if there is a way to enter the genius battlefield, ordinary outside star-level people would not dare to enter. Regarding the genius battlefield, Jia Yan found another theory on the internet, that is, the genius battlefield may have originated from a super-powerful war hundreds of thousands of years ago. At that time, there were even extremely terrifying. Some people say that they are super top powerhouses that exceed the galaxy level, while others say they are the top galaxy level existences. Anyway, it was after that batch of powerhouses that the genius battlefield appeared. However, most of the creatures in Luo, as well as Jia Yan, sneered at this statement. Can a battle create 1,000 light-year area with unique cosmic laws? What a terrible battle this requires. Anyway, Jia Yan can't imagine any strong person who can be so powerful. Even a galaxy-level strong person, he doesn't think he can do this. In short, while reading a lot of information, the Edisha slowly drove into the genius battlefield. With the official cleanup and city paving of genius battlefield, this entry channel is much more stable, but Jia Yan can also use the power of brain waves to detect areas 100 or 200 kilometers away. There was no chaos at all. He felt that if he entered, he might not even be able to come back. It was extremely dangerous. Brother, when we enter, we need to go to coordinates 2322, 88,256, and 61,962. Don't go anywhere else. The pig monster prince kept talking in the other cubicle, and he didn't know if Jia Yan heard it. This coordinate is the stronghold established by the Losai Empire and several other geniuses. Although they are not powerful geniuses, they can barely protect themselves as long as they are careful. There is no such thing as withdrawing from the genius battlefield. Half-star strong men can apply to leave, but other strong men cannot even leave. And killing people is also commonplace here. Officials allow it and even encourage it. Grind. I understand, please stop talking. Adisha pretended to be Jia Yan and spoke to the pig monster prince in the cubicle through the communicator. That guy was so nagging that even Adisha, who liked to talk, couldn't stand it. While they were talking, the Edissa flew out of the passage with a chaotic atmosphere. Then under the control of Edissa, the Edissa aimed in one direction, accelerated slightly, and flew directly away. Sure enough, this genius has his own power. I wanted to invite him to our power, but it's a pity. Among the battleships and aircraft that came in around them, some geniuses showed disappointed expressions. Jia Yan, on the other hand, did not know the thoughts of these existences behind him, so he flew directly to the direction mentioned by the pig monster prince on the Edisha. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 831. Moiwan Literature Network. For more information, please log in to the unique address of Moiwan Literature Network, mobile reading login. Welcome your visit /U003E/U003E/U003E. In the genius domain in the direction of the entrance, the likelihood of fighting is not high. The genius realm official also stipulates that newcomers have a certain period of guarantee. During this period, unless there is a grudge against the newcomer, those who win or even kill the newcomer will not get any points, and may even be punished. Of course, Jia Yan also has to be careful. After all, the Edissa is too eye-catching. But it was such an unfortunate thing that no matter how careful Jia Yan was, he still reached the level of genius. And this person is waiting for newcomers to arrive at the entrance, and then snatches the property. Get off the spaceship obediently. Just as Jia Yan rode the Edisha to a place less than 5 billion miles away from the entrance, a sound containing the movement of a sub-level person was transmitted to the Edisha. Jia Yan looked out at the stars with some surprise. This time he was really shocked, because before the sound came out, he didn't even feel that this person was beside him. This does not mean that Jia Yan is weaker than the opponent, but in terms of brain power, the opponent's control will definitely exceed his. Master, there's a thief. Be careful. Adisha was right next to Jia Yan, and he was so worried that he started flying around. Prince Nasidi, who was in another compartment, looked around blankly, as if he still didn't know what was going on. Edisha, can't we jump and leave? Jia Yan's voice was still calm, but his words revealed that he didn't want to cause trouble. After all, in this genius realm, his first thought was not to fight, but to understand the place first and gain a firm foothold. The answer that lovely Disha gave him was a bit discouraging. The Edisha is not in complete shape yet, otherwise we would kill it all, but now the opponent has used a space disruptor. If we jump, we may be torn into pieces by the chaotic subspace Edisha. Also it's a bit depressing. Although the Aditha is a great fighting weapon in its complete state, now, it can't deal with a sub-level person at all. In this case, only the soldiers will come to cover up the water and the earth. Jia Yan stood up, then ordered Edisha to open the corner of the Edisha and flew out of the vacuum. Haha, you are indeed an obedient young man. Standing in the starry sky is a monster with a snow-white face. His appearance is pure and white, and he looks gorgeous. Jia Yan is one size smaller than the opponent, and his strength seems to be weaker on the surface. Moreover, the opponent is also a genius, and even Jia Yan doesn't seem to have much confidence in dealing with him. I wonder what this senior means. Jia Yan came to the starry sky and saw a ship behind him. The ship released a bunch of small machines. They must be space interference instruments. It's very simple. I don't want your ship, as long as you hand over your belongings. Newcomer, this is the hidden rule in the genius domain. If you are unlucky and you are bumped into by me, just accept your fate, the white monster said coldly. He saw that Jia Yan was a venerable person, and that the huge ship seemed a little unusual, so he didn't want to be too aggressive. If he couldn't kill the opponent and there was some big force behind Jia Yan, then his life would not be easy. And the rules he mentioned really seemed to be true. When a newcomer arrives in the genius realm, if he is unlucky enough to meet a senior genius who wants to make some extra money, then he is considered unlucky. The officials of the genius domain just turn a blind eye. As long as they don't kill people, they won't care. And in the future, it will involve newcomers who have successfully cultivated and seek revenge on the senior genius who robbed them. The genius domain. What I want to see most is the situation. Haha, you want me to hand over my property? Jia Yanfu's eyes flashed with something strange. After that, he said calmly, then let your strength speak for itself, senior. Since there is no way to escape, then let's do it. Jia Yan happened to be using this too. Let's see how much bigger the geniuses in the genius realm are compared to those in the outside world. As for the sub-level ones, he would have been able to defeat them easily in the Northern Star territory, and the sub-level ones here, no matter how big they are, cannot exceed the half-star level of the outside world, right? Seeing a trace of interest in Jia Yan's eyes, the pure white man smiled coldly. Haha, you are indeed a newcomer. If you think you are great in the outside world, will you be the leader in this genius realm? Let me show you what the genius realm is. That person knew that most geniuses were so arrogant, and he was one of them back then. Now that Jia Yan refused to recognize the reality, he would give this junior a lesson. Defeat me. This time, Guanzhe's claws were like a supercomposite steel, grabbing fiercely in the direction of Jia Yan. Jia Yan's face was immersed, and then his body retreated backwards. At the same time, the space beside Jia Yan was distorted, and the attack range of the opponent's attack was extended. Although the other party was also a being with great brain power, and also used his own environment control power to twist and break Jia Yan's Kongda, he was still affected after all. This blow actually barely scraped the side of Jia Yan's body and did not hurt Jia Yan. This time, both sides showed shock and solemn expressions. Jia Yan was surprised. He didn't take too many chances to dodge, but the opponent's blow still almost hit his body. The other party was equally surprised. He was surprised that Jia Yan was able to dodge his own blow. Good guy, you are actually a genius among geniuses. You were able to dodge my blow when you first arrived, amazing. There was a cruel expression on the face of the white monster. But the more genius you are, the happier I am. Defeat me now. The white monster then used a bigger move and attacked Jia Yan in an instant. Jia Yanshan was indifferent. At this time, he felt a sense of equal strength. As expected, it is indeed a genius domain. Any person who comes to the second level can be almost as strong as me. But Jia Yanfu's eyes flashed with pride, and then he touched him directly without fear. This time, he also used his front feet. The attacks from both sides suddenly collided in the starry sky. An earth-shaking impact exploded in this space. From the center of the confrontation, the two were directly bombarded and pushed back dozens of miles. Jia Yan's front foot has turned blue in an instant, which means that he is also responding with all his strength. Awesome, awesome. Really awesome. The pure white passer saw that Jia Yan was completely unharmed by his blow, and seemed to be evenly matched with him. Suddenly more emotions come. He attacked again. A wisp of light appeared in the interstellar space again, and two huge monsters were hit directly and retreated for dozens of miles. That's right. How long you can fight with me depends on how long you can hold on. The white monster looked more and more interested and fired another electric attack towards Jia Yan. Naturally, Jia Yan was not afraid and faced him head-on. The two sides continued to collide in the starry sky, and the other party had no intention of taking Jia Yan's life, but kept using a kind of strength to suppress Jia Yan. That's right, his strength is a second passer after all, and it is not comparable to the second passers from the outside world. Jia Yan's strength couldn't match that of his opponent, but he was not weak either, and the more he fought, the more he discovered the wonders of his opponent's fighting moves. Master, this person's moves are beyond those of the Northern Star territory, you have to learn more. The little Edisha was on Jia Yan's body, like the light and shadow monster she once was, giving guidance to Jia Yan. I understand that his fighting style is simply created for himself. Is this a genius? He is indeed a genius, Jia Yan replied to Edisha as he fought. The fight is still going on. Although Jia Yan is shocked by the strength of this person, he is after all an existence that has defeated a half-star level person. Now he is dealing with this second level person, and now he has the same background as the person who has faced him before. It's reflected. There were collisions again and again, and then the two sides exchanged wonderful blows. Every time it was like a battle of wits and strength. Although Jia Yan was at a disadvantage at the beginning, it didn't take long for both sides to gradually decline in physical fitness, and his advantage was reflected. How is that possible? Your physical strength hasn't dropped too much. That time, Guan Tianzi felt that his physical strength had dropped as expected, but the other party didn't drop at all, and he immediately felt something bad. He wanted to retreat, but Jia Yan's eyes flashed and he came to him again. Humph, there are many races with strong physical strength. Do you think you can defeat me? A cold glint appeared in the white monster's eyes. The next moment, his attack power suddenly increased greatly. Hey, Jia Yan was startled, feeling one of the opponent's sharp claws slide over quickly, and quickly took a big step back. But this white monster seemed to have expected that Jia Yan would hide, and then Tianzhan released his brilliance. A small white hole unexpectedly appeared in front of his body, and the white monster stepped into it. Boy, I hope we can meet again next time. If your new guarantee expires, I will kill you. After saying a harsh word, this white monster entered the white hole and disappeared directly. Escaped. Jia Yan saw this strange hole not far away, but he had no time to pursue it. After the opponent entered the hole, the white hole disappeared. Wow, Master, you are so awesome. You defeated a second-level genius in the genius realm just after you entered the genius realm. I will send the information to the genius realm official to give you extra points. Editha flew out from Jia Yan's body, looking at Jia Yan and congratulating her continuously. Of course, Jia Yan didn't have much joy or anything. After all, he had defeated and even killed the second-level monster before. Although this white monster was far larger than the second-level monster he had seen before, defeating him did not mean killing him. Jia Yan doesn't think it's worth being happy or anything. But through this, he gained a sideways understanding of his own strength in this genius realm. Thanks to the Misery Water Brothers for the 1000 starting coin reward, and the 18 Dahan Book Club for the 1000 starting coin reward, as well as the Xian Tian Book Friend for the 500 starting coin reward, and the Look 000 Book Friend reward, and also thank the book friends who have read the original version. Thank you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Buletin Yu. Chapter 832. Click here to read on mobile phone. This white monster is reduced to robbing newcomers of supplies, so he is destined not to be particularly powerful among the second-level strong men in the genius battlefield. But I am not much different from these strong men, which shows that my current strength, at best, they are similar to the second-level experts in this genius battlefield. If you encounter a genius at the semi-star level, you may be in danger. Oriental Novel Reading Network, please search, @UN, for the most complete view. The fastest updated novel. Thinking about this, Jia Yan showed a solemn expression. There is a lot that can be seen through this battle. Jia Yan originally wanted to rely on his own strength. Although it was impossible to defeat a genius-level semi-star powerhouse in this genius battlefield, there was still no problem in escaping, right? But he didn't expect that in this battle with a strong person in the second level, he could see that his strength was at most not much different from a genius in the second level. He even suspected that he would meet a top genius in the second level. Maybe even can't be defeated. Things are getting a bit serious. Master, you are already strong enough, and in this genius battlefield, your strength will be greatly improved. Before, your layout was too small. The backward place in the Northern Star Territory is regarded as the holy land of geniuses along with the entire galaxy. There is no comparison, as long as you get here, get the correct training method, and practice fighting with talented and powerful people, your strength will definitely reach a stronger level in a period of time. Edis's confidence in Jia Yan is as strong as Jia Yan's own confidence. Okay, your points are down. This increased point is 10 times more than the previous victory over the fox monster, which is a full 10 points. The Aditha looked at the points on the screen in surprise, feeling satisfied. After beating away the robber, Jia Yan didn't care about the pig prince of the Luozi Empire, who still didn't know what happened. He just got the Edisha and continued flying in the direction the prince said. The ship has sailed again? Where is the strong man just now? Did he give him money so quickly and let us go? Yes, it seems that this guy has some ability to deal with people. When I am Luozi's genius, he will definitely be able to deal with us. Make good connections with others. Prince Luozi felt happy when he felt the Edisha was activated, thinking that Jia Yan had settled the matter. Of course, Jia Yan did settle the matter, but it was not the settlement method of giving money to eliminate disasters as he thought, but using force to drive away the opponent. If he knew, he might not be so calm, but rather shocked. A strong genius who has just arrived in the genius battlefield can defeat an existence in the genius battlefield that is one level higher. This is no longer an ordinary genius, at least he is also a high-level genius. But he didn't know, otherwise he would be snoring again. This flight, I don't know how long it took, but fortunately the journey was smooth, and I didn't encounter any more interceptions by the geniuses. After all, the universe is still big. After passing through the dense area of the entrance, the possibility of encountering life decreases. After spending a long time in this genius battlefield, Jia Yan gradually felt the wonders of this place. It turns out that there seems to be nothing special about the starry sky, but in the entire science star field, there are some ethereal substances that are so tiny that they are impossible to detect, which are conducive to the absorption of living things, and this kind of absorption is only conducive to existences with star-level strength. In a short period of time, he felt that the exhaustion from the previous battle was quickly being repaired, and his body even felt a little stronger. Of course, this enhancement is not an exaggeration. Master, we are here. In front of us is the power that the prince mentioned. With Edisha's joyful shout, Jia Yan, who was still realizing the difference in energy, came back from his meditation. He looked at the electronic screen of the Aditha in front of him and saw only the starry sky. A star that did not appear to be a natural creation was slowly floating in the starry sky. Moreover, there are 70 or 80 smaller stars flying around this star, and the weapon systems on them look extremely advanced. This is the force where the genius of the Luozi Empire lies, as mentioned by the Pig Prince of the Luozi Empire. The aircraft ahead, you have entered Wuxi's sphere of influence. Please report your intention, otherwise we have the right to sniper your ship. The star in front suddenly sent out such a message. When Jia Yan came to the compartment, he saw the prince of the Loci Empire, who was boredly counting the textures of the metal floor of the Edisha. 3126, 3127, 3000. While he was counting, he suddenly felt the door of the compartment open. When he looked up, Jia Yan, whom he had not seen for a long time, was in front of him. "Brother, you're finally here. Let me tell you, this aircraft is advanced, but there are too many metal marks. I suggest you go for maintenance on the entire ship. If you want to go, I can introduce you to a professional company in the Loci Empire." Them. The Pig Prince was about to continue speaking, but Jia Yan interrupted him helplessly. "Okay, let's talk about my aircraft later. We have arrived at the place of power you mentioned. The other party asked me about my identity. Please go over and explain." After finishing speaking, Jia Yan took the Pig Prince to another compartment, where there were communication equipment specially arranged by the Aditha. "I repeat, please report your identity, otherwise we have the power to destroy you." Another voice of questioning came from the communicator, as if Jia Yan would be attacked by them if he didn't reveal his identity. "Haha, cousin. I know it's you. I am Jing Luo, the prince of Loci Empire." The pig-headed prince laughed happily. When he heard the voice on the other side of the communicator, he knew who was on the other side. The voice on the other side paused for a moment, then asked with some confusion, "Jing Luo, how did you come?" The other party couldn't believe it. How could this cousin come to this genius battlefield? You must know that although his strength is also strong, there are still some that are not as good as those in the genius battlefield. Although his status as the prince of the Loci Empire can give him it's a little convenient, but the emperor of the Loci Empire can't let his son come here to embarrass himself. That's right, everyone thinks it would be a shame to let the prince of the Loci Empire out. Haha, I took a boat ride from my buddy. Cousin, please let us go quickly. I'll introduce you to my good buddy. The prince of Loci Empire, whom Jia Yan had just learned to be called Jing Luo, was laughing and laughing. He did not look like someone who had been imprisoned by Jia Yan for several years. Instead, he looked like he had a good relationship with Jia Yan. "Your buddy? Is he also a genius? What is his strength?" Hearing that his cousin's buddy was also there, he suddenly became a little nervous. Others don't understand this cousin prince, but he understands that this guy is heartless and God knows if he will attract wolves into the house. "Hello, I am the friend your cousin mentioned." "My strength is venerable," Jia Yan interrupted, otherwise he wouldn't know whether Jing Luo would chat with his relatives for a long time. "Okay, I will send a team of people over to check it out later. I hope you can accept the check." Jing Luo's cousin said something. Not long after, a small fast spacecraft arrived outside the Edisha. Jia Yan and the Edisha had already foreseen this scene, so the Edisha hid some special equipment, and the two venerable level monsters on the other side's bench ship did not notice anything wrong. After all, the Edisha is a powerful star-level backpack, and it is so easy to explore somewhere. After going through some more procedures, the Edisha was finally released, and its huge body slowly sailed towards the location of this power. 1.5 stars, 7 sub-level experts. Jia Yan was inside the Edisha while sensing the interior of the artificial star in the distance. Although the opponent had some hints of strength, Jia Yan could feel the opponent's strength very concretely through the enhanced detection capabilities of the Edisha. A half-star level, and I feel that he is not as powerful as the half-star level experts I have fought. At least I have a slight chance of escape, and it seems that the other party is in training. So the question is, the other 7 are strong in the second level. After Jia Yan carefully explored the opponent's strength, he felt that he was within this force. If something happened, he might still be able to escape if he risked his life. How could he have a strong chance if he didn't get close to danger? Besides, isn't there a buddy here? Welcome both of you to Wu Si's force. The huge Edessa was parked next to the star. It was more than 10 kilometers long, so that the artificial star, which was only more than 500 kilometers in diameter, seemed to have an extra corner, protruding directly. Jia Yan was greeted by 3 powerful people from the second pass and more than 20 sages. When Jia Yan got off the boat and saw the 3 powerful men from the secondary level, he felt that the power of these 3 people was faintly suppressing him. Fortunately, the other party showed no signs of taking action. "Hello, 3 seniors." Jia Yan got off the Edessa and said calmly as if he didn't notice the other party's aura. "Cousin," the prince of the Losai Empire got off the Edessa and saw a distinguished man hugging him. "Be serious." In the opponent's venerable team, there was also a pig-headed monster similar to Prince Luok. When he saw him approaching, his face changed and he shouted coldly. In fact, this cousin wasn't the only one. There were 5 or 6 pig-headed monsters in the entire team, and in Jia Yan's opinion, they all looked the same. The 3 venerables also have a real pig-headed monster, but the prince of the Losai Empire doesn't seem to recognize him. "Guys, I came here with this brother Jingluo. I want to join your genius force." Jia Yan lowered his attitude again and said in a slightly flattering tone. "Oh? If your lord is strong, you need to take our test. You can only join after you report your origin and test your strength later. Come in first." After hearing Jia Yan's words, the 3 powerful men of the 3rd level looked at the Aditya. It seemed that apart from its size, there was nothing unique about it, so they gave up their vigilant attitude. After saying so much, they took Jia Yan towards the interior of the artificial star. "You still need to be tested? I didn't expect that I, Jia Yan, would be disliked by others one day." Jia Yan heard this and followed behind with a wry smile. "Thanks to the Mingyu family brothers for the previous tips, thank you." Reborn as an Interstellar Giant Mosquito author, Bulletin U. Chapter 833. Every genius will have some secrets. These secrets are either inheritance or powerful methods. But in the genius battlefield, others will not covet your secrets too much. You don't need to think of yourself as too great. Jia Yan was in a huge room, listening to the black monster in front of him. This monster looks like a huge insect with 100 or 200 legs. It foams at the mouth when it talks. I don't know if it is born or for some reason. In short, it is very disgusting. Okay, I see. Jia Yan nodded. Although he didn't think that his inheritance and secrets would definitely not be coveted by others, but after hearing what this insect monster said, he had some confidence. The other party is right. Geniuses in the genius battlefield will all have some special physiques or inheritances, otherwise they would not be geniuses. And after everyone is unique, then it is not considered unique. Perhaps only an extremely powerful inheritance can arouse the prying eyes of others. Even though Jia Yan thought that some of the things he owned were too outrageous, after hearing these words, he felt a little relieved. The Edisha was docked at the port of the artificial star, and after they inspected it, they asked Jia Yan to close the hatch and promise not to enter. "It's best if you understand. So let's see now what effect you have on our Wu-Ci forces. We are not a charity base here, and we will not hire people who cannot be used." The insect monster looked at Jia Yan. Although he was also a venerable person, he vaguely felt that he had a higher status than Jia Yan and acted like a senior. "I wonder what kind of proof is needed," Jia Yanshan asked after a strange light flashed in his eyes. "There's nothing else. In the genius battlefield, what everyone sees is combat prowess, so just show your own strength. Follow me to the starry sky battlefield, as long as you can persist in front of the 3-year venerable 3 minutes and you pass the test." Under the leadership of the insect monster, Jia Yan moved forward with it. As he walked, Jia Yan observed the artificial star. He felt a little emotional in his heart. This artificial star is actually made of pieces of metal. With a diameter of 500 kilometers, The technological strength and resources required for this were beyond his imagination. However, such a place was only the location of a small force in the genius battlefield, and they lived in trepidation every day. It can be seen that the overall strength in the genius battlefield is much stronger than that of places like the northern starfield. A star with a diameter of 500 kilometers is divided into many layers. It is correct to say that it is a star, but it should actually be a movable circular flying tool. There are not many living beings in the entire star. There are more than 200 venerables, 7 sub-level experts, and 1 half-star level expert. Jia Yan keenly felt that another difference in this genius battlefield is that there are many more strong people in the second level than in the northern star field. Originally, the number of strong people in the second level was not necessarily greater than that of the half-star level. But what is happening now is that there are actually many more strong people in the second level. He couldn't help but think of it. When he learned about the sub-level powerhouse, the senior light and shadow monster said that in some star fields, advanced combat promotion systems have been developed. Most of the powerhouses are promoted first between the venerable and the star level. Reaching the sub-level will increase the chance of being promoted to the star level. In this planet, my current strength is about the same as that of a strong person in the second level. Jia Yan silently positioned his own strength. The two walked together, and occasionally saw a staff member of the Venerable along the way, who was maintaining the equipment on the star. Is this monster the new guy who just arrived today? Take a look. After all, the Venerable level is still strong, and they work very freely. After seeing Jia Yan's arrival, they all followed him, wanting to see what kind of performance Jia Yan, the newcomer, was like. All the way to a huge vacuum exit, the bug monster stood still. Which of you has been in the genius battlefield for 3 years? He turned around and asked. I. A turtle-like monster stood up. He looked at Jia Yan with a twinkling look in his eyes. You must know that someone who has been in the genius battlefield for 3 years is not considered a strong person. He is basically underestimated in this area. Now that he meets a newcomer, he also wants to enjoy it. I feel powerful. To put it simply, it's food abuse. Okay, you happen to be a newcomer 3 years ago. Go ahead. You two have a fight. As long as you don't kill the other party, you can use any means. If you have the ability, you can just let your battleship self-destruct and die with him then. The bug monster said something to both parties. Come on newcomer, let me see your strength. The turtle monster flew towards the outside world head-on. Jia Yan didn't say anything, but flew behind. Adisha, if I use strength that exceeds that of most of the sages here, will there be any trouble? Jia Yan asked Edisha in the bottom of his heart. He was now strong enough, and even a half-star level would not notice such a close communication method. Master, no, according to my analysis, this Wu Ci force is barely surviving in the genius battlefield. The stronger you are, the more benefits the force will get. Of course, don't expose all your strength. Otherwise it will cause discomfort to other forces. I see. Jia Yanfu's eyes flashed and he replied. The two flew almost 1,000 kilometers, and then got into a fighting posture. Jia Yan could feel that most of the powerful people on the entire planet were watching this battle. Boy, your ability to come to our Wu Ci force must have something to do with it, but I want you to see that the genius battlefield is not as beautiful as a newcomer imagines. Come and join me. The turtle monster dodged suddenly and came to Jia Yan. Although he looks like a turtle, his speed is as fast as lightning. So fast. Jia Yan's eyes flashed, and then his expression calmed down. It is indeed a battlefield for geniuses. None of the geniuses here are vegetarians. If it were a venerable person from the northern star region, he might not be able to take even one of the opponent's moves. But Jia Yan is Jia Yan after all. After a few thoughts flashed through his mind, he faintly moved towards the body beside him. His movement range was obviously not large, But he actually dodged the blow just right? Awesome. But this is just my test move, defeat me. The turtle monster seemed a little embarrassed, and then his head retracted into the turtle shell, and then he shot out suddenly. The speed of this head is extremely fast, and the general must not be able to follow it. But Jia Yan still smiled, then tilted his head and dodged the blow. How is that possible? The turtle monster was shocked. His eyes turned away, and a cold light broke through the space and came to the front of his head in a flash of lightning. By the time he reacted, the cold light had landed firmly in front of his head. It turns out that this is the opponent's front foot. The turtle monster's eyes widened in disbelief, and then he felt a fierce cold air that spread from the front of his head to his whole body. He was almost paralyzed by fear in an instant. Admitted it? Jia Yan said lightly. Huh? This Jia Yan can actually win. 1,000 kilometers away, a powerful man above the name of the Venerable looked at the scene in shock. What they couldn't believe was that Jia Yan, a newcomer who had just arrived in the genius battlefield, could actually defeat a genius who had been in the genius battlefield for 3 years. You must know that everyone is a genius, even if they are all venerable, but with 3 more years, the gap should be extremely huge. This Jia Yan's strength is definitely not simple. The venerables couldn't understand the scene that happened before. They just felt that Jia Yan was stronger than the turtle monster. But the expressions of all the powerful people on the planet changed. Come up yourself. The insect monster was about to announce Jia Yan's victory. He was also happy to see a newcomer. As one of the strong ones among the astral lords, he was happy to see the arrival of a genius who could expand this power. Among the weak forces, it is not that there is no friction with each other, but there is more pressure to survive. He naturally hopes to see Wu Si become powerful. You can hear the brainwave power voice of a powerful person next to your ears. He was startled. Okay, he was a little strange, but he still obeyed the order and flew out of the star hatch. Look, that Pai Pseudo Shi has done it by himself. How is that possible? He must have gone over to check whether the newcomer was taking shelter. After all, a newcomer defeated a 3-year-old man just after he arrived. No one believed him even if he said he was not taking shelter. When the venerables saw the insect monster flying out, they suddenly started talking in surprise. But what shocked them was that when the insect monster came to the 2 powerful warriors, he actually said, Jia Yan, you won this battle just now, but next you have to fight with me field. As long as I fight you, I can pass the test, right? Jia Yan looked at him and then asked silently. Yes, if you beat me, it won't just be as simple as passing the test, but I don't think you can beat me, the bug monster said with some pride. That's not necessarily the case. Jia Yan shook his head and then assumed a fighting stance. The turtle monster on the other side stepped aside and looked at the 2 strangely. How could Pai Pusi do it on his own? His strength is at the top level of a venerable. It is not difficult to be promoted to a 2nd level master. How could he actually deal with a new venerable who has just arrived in the genius battlefield? Or character? There are also strong and weak points among the venerables. Although there is no clear distinction between the early stage and the late stage, there is a huge gap between the weak and the strong ones. The insect monster is an existence that has almost reached the highest level of the venerable. No one thought that Jia Yan could fight this insect monster. Come on, I'll let you attack first, the insect monster said magnanimously to Jia Yan. He didn't think that Jia Yan could fight against him. Maybe he was just a few powerful men who wanted to see his limits.